Ah, yes, a tradition unlike any other. So the entire offseason, Vikings fans have been champing at the bit. The Vikings should sign Dalton Risner. His name is Robert Paulson. The Vikings should sign Dalton Risner, the pride of Kansas State, and he just hangs out there as a free agent. And the whole Vikings should sign Risner has become the new, hey, you should start Wedman. But for some reason, he's still a free agent, and it's very odd where if he and his agent were hanging out for trying to find the best contract, I think that would have been communicated through the NFL insiders. If there was a medical issue where teams were shying away, I think that would have gotten out as well. So it's a bit of a mystery, and as teams roll along through OTAs and mandatory minicamps are coming up, the fact that you have a guy who's a top 10 left guard in the league is just out there chilling. I mean, it remains to be seen. It is a little bit odd, and also the fact that there has been like zero tangible steam of Dalton Risner visited Team X, of Dalton Risner visited Team Y. We haven't seen it, but should the Vikings be in? Yeah, so looking at his contract, Spot Rack estimates his market value at around 9.5. Now, give or take a little bit, especially at this stage, probably going to be a little bit less since most teams have spent up their cap for the most part. And the Vikings currently chilling with around $11 million in cap space, and that also does not include whatever is going to happen with Dalvin. That does not include a potential Brian O'Neill restructure where they could free up even more cap space. So they could easily afford Dalton Risner if they wanted him. And should they consider it, especially since Ezra Cleveland, who is more of a natural left tackle jammed into left guard, is also in a contract year. It's possible. Let's take a look. So, background: Dalton Risner, 27 years young, 6'5", 312, 2019 second rounder by the Broncos, coming out of Kansas State University, where he played some center, played some guard, played some tackle. Does have some versatility. But for the Broncos, he's a 4-year starter at left guard. He averages 72.3 PFF grade over those 4 seasons. Pass blocking proficient. That's where he makes his money. And 3 years with the Broncos with current Vikings offensive line coach Chris Cooper. So, I mean, if Cooper wanted him, they could have got him, right? And we talked about this entire offseason where the Vikings, they obviously like what they have, where they ran it back with Darrisaw, Ezra, Bradbury, Ingram, and O'Neal. They didn't sign any outside free agents. They didn't spend any draft picks on the offensive line, so they like who they got up front. But it's just so odd. It's just so odd, isn't it? Where it is a position of need. It is a guy that the coaching staff would be very familiar with. And, Curtis Motkins also came over from Denver. He's the Vikings run game coordinator, so he would have some insight as well. And Risner is just a solid meat and potatoes guard. He is definitely above average, got a good punch, has got a good attitude, overall good teammate too. So it does make sense. And even though I do love me some Ezra Cleveland, I think that, like I said, he has been playing out of position. And I think when the Vikings made Ezra a 2020 second round pick coming out of Boise State, the plan was to have him be the left tackle of the future. But getting Darrisaw in the first round at number 23, that certainly changed things, and Ezra took what he could get at this stage. But I don't see him signing a second contract with the Vikings. I do see him going somewhere to try and play left tackle because that's a much more premium position than left guard, and it sort of is what it is. So it could be a spot where the Vikings could trade Ezra. The Vikings could potentially cut Ezra as well if they do bring in Dalton Risner, and Risner at 27, O'Neal 27. Everyone else is under that. So the fact, is Bradbury 28? Doesn't matter. All 5 of the offensive linemen be under 30. So the fact that could be your starting 5 for the foreseeable future, something you got to think about. Absolutely do. But hopefully this mystery gets solved, because it's starting to bother me at this point. Like, why isn't Risner on a 90-man roster? Why is he in camp? Like, it's probably not because he's asking too much money. Is it a medical thing? I don't know. Who really knows? But if the Vikings were going to get him in before the start of mandatory minicamp in mid-June, would make a ton of sense. So he could get up to speed. Chris Cooper, him and Risner go way back like chiropractic, but get him some reps with the first team, and then during vacation, have him get into the playbook, have him get work on the side, and let him hit training camp running. But do it. So Kwesi has looked to improve this roster at every single step. This would be a major one at a huge position of need. But your thoughts are thoughts. The Vikings need to sign Dalton Risner. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol production value.